Hello everybody and welcome to the first in a series of videos I'm creating on Studio One 5 Absolute Basics. If like me many years ago you were able to write and record music that wasn't completely terrible and have wanted to start again but confused at the new software you need to master, or have never used this software or created music, then you're in the right place. Well, hopefully you're in the right place. I wanted to create a series of videos from scratch which will cover everything I need to learn myself and hopefully help others in getting started. So what this series won't be, at least initially, is an advanced guide into complex recording, processing and mastering scenarios. However, I do hope to get to that point sometime in the future, but I guess that depends on whether anyone else really benefits from these videos and the amount of feedback I get. By the end of this series, I hope to have shown you the basics of these related subjects, such that you are able to follow along with me or dip in and out of what topic I'm covering, and if you need a quick bit of info. So today we're really covering the basics. I'm assuming you have Studio One installed and your MIDI controller connected via USB or via an external audio interface. Once you're connected up, you start a new empty song and you have a blank template to work with. Now the idea in this video is just to show you how to create a track and record some sounds, whether that be via your keyboard or external instrument. I'll explain how to add a track for built-in instruments and external ones as well. I'll talk briefly about what the track is and how it relates to the channels. Finally, a little bit of information or quick tips for some early editing that you may want to do, which will save you a lot of time. Firstly though, there are many versions of Studio One. I'm using Professional. However, you can get a completely free version from Presonus by visiting the site and selecting the Prime Edition. Let's take a look at that now. Okay, so how do we go about getting the software if we don't already own it? Pretty simple. Go to presonus.com, products, Studio One. This will bring you to this page and click the Buy Now button. Now I did say it's free. There are multiple versions you can buy depending on what your needs are, but down here we have Studio One 5 Prime, which is of course free. One thing I'd like to stress at this point is just to have a quick look at the tech specs to make sure that whatever system you're running is capable of running the software. Click Add to Cart, and you'll need to create a Presonus account. Once you have that and you've logged in, you can check out for £0 in this case, and you'll get an email with a download link and a license. Once you have that, you then go about the installation process and setting up your audio interfaces or external instruments and things like that. Pretty straightforward. Okay, so I'm going to show you a few ways of getting a track set up and an instrument assigned and linked to a channel. I'll record some basic music and show you the results and outputs. Now, as with a lot of software, there are a few ways to do the same thing depending on your preferences. So to add a track over here in the track column, you can click this plus button, which brings up the Add Tracks dialog box. You can right click in this grey area and click Add Tracks, which will give you the same dialog box. Or if you're a fan of keyboard shortcuts, you can simply press T, which brings up another dialog box, which is exactly the same as the previous dialog boxes. Okay, so there's a few options here. I'm not going to go through everything right now. What we need to know is we need to give it a name so we can identify it. We want to pick whether it's an audio track or an instrument track. For this particular example, we're going to pick instrument because we're using the software instruments built into Studio One. Color relates to the colors of the tracks when you add multiple tracks on your track lane here, and we can add more than one track at a time, and again that's something we can come back to later, but for now we just want to add one. Don't worry about all of this stuff down here, just leave it as default. We're creating a new instrument and click OK. So I have my track, but there's no channel in the mixer assigned. Also, how do I get an instrument assigned to this track so I can start making some noise? Well, as you might imagine, there's multiple ways of doing this as well. So the first way we're going to do it is by picking one of the built-in software instruments called Presence and dragging it onto the track itself. Left click, drag and let go. So this pulls up our software instrument, and as you can see right now there is nothing selected. So this isn't really going to be a demonstration of how to use Presence, but what we want to do is pick an instrument. So let's go to the pianos we have available and click acoustic piano full. Okay, so that's now loaded in. We have our track. This little indicator has gone orange, which shows that we have an instrument assigned to this track. So now I should be able to start making some noise like I said previously. Okay, well, if I play some notes on my keyboard, you can't really see anything, but there's no sound coming out. That's strange. Now, the reason for this is because there's a button that we need to press called the monitor button. This allows you to hear the instrument you're playing on that track, and this becomes important when you have lots of tracks. You only want to monitor the one you're recording with or playing at that time. Otherwise, it gets a bit messy. So the monitor button is over here, and we can click that. And now, great, the keyboard is lighting up, which means that we have a signal, if you like. We can hear it. Everything's good in the world. Right, next thing I want to do is record that. So, how do I do that? Well, there's a button on the transport bar down here. Looks like a record button. And again, it is. So we simply click that button and see what happens. Okay, that was kind of strange. Nothing got recorded, even though it looked like it was recording and the transport was moving. So why is this? Well, this is a common mistake early on. Everything looks good, but nothing recorded. This is because you have to arm the track. In other words, tell Studio One that this is a track you would like to record your instrument on. Once you've done that, hit record and try again. So the arm record button over here, or the record button, click that, it goes red, and then we can try recording again. Okay, fantastic. I managed to record some piano, and if you want to drop a comment and tell me what you think that was, that would be pretty good. Okay, so let's have a quick look at this. We have the MIDI information recorded here, and there's lots to talk about, but that's for a later video. But if we go back to the mix area by clicking this button, you can see that it did create this channel when we added the track, and the MIDI section is essentially just information. There is no output associated with this. That's where the channel comes in. Now, someone wise once gave an analogy saying that you can think of the MIDI notes as being the sheet music, and you can think of the channel as being the pianist playing the sheet music. It works pretty well, so I think I'll use that analogy. Okay, let's have a quick recap. What have we achieved here? Well, firstly, we've managed to add a track. We've managed to add a software instrument and assign a piano. We've managed to create an output channel. And we've also managed to capture some music by playing the keyboard. Pretty straightforward stuff. But this is really only the start of the journey of creating music. This is one piece of simple piano. As you can imagine, there's a lot more behind a song or a tune or whatever it is you're creating. So now I've showed you the long way of adding tracks and channels and things like that. Let's do it the simple way. All we need to do is pick this up, left click and drag, add it to the track, and there we go. Everything's done. The track's in, the software instrument is assigned, and we have a channel to output to. The last thing we'd need to do is pick an instrument. So down here we can pick something like strings, violins. Let's have some full violins, and then we will get some noise from those as well, once we've clicked the monitor button, of course. Okay, fantastic. Okay, so now we've got our second track. Let's play something and add a little bit to this piece. Okay, let's arm it for recording and click the record button. Okay, great. Let's hear what this sounds like. Okay, not too bad, but obviously there's some problems with this. There's some timing issues. There's some volume issues between the two tracks. Lots of things we can dive into. For now, though, I'm just going to leave it here. And next time we'll look at editing some of these areas that we can look at across the top here at the toolbars and shortcuts, which will really help in your editing. And also over here, some of the things we can do with the tracks. So for now, that's where I'll leave it. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. If not, please give it a thumbs down. But if you do, please comment so I can know what to improve. That would be fantastic. Subscribe if you're not, and I'll play the extended version of this that I created a little bit earlier, just to demonstrate some more of the tracks that have been added. Thank you very much and have a fantastic day.